Hello, everybody. Thank you for anyone who joins us today. I am here with the lovely Amara Lynn, and she's going to be talking about her WIP and some of her published books, and just talk about how her writing is. And yeah, so do you want to talk a little bit about yourself first?
Sure. I'm an indie author. I have three cats, and this is Maple, who decided to join us. Um, and otherwise, when I'm not writing, I like anime and games and sometimes reading, but mostly just collecting books and listening to music.
Nice. Are you ready to get into the questions?
Sure.
Okay. Uh, Question one: what's your WIP about? If it's a sequel, you can talk about the overall story, including previous books.
So right now, I'm writing. It is part of a series, kind of, but they are all just interconnected standalones. But I call it Contemporary Cryptids, and it's a series of stories about a race of Mothman people. So the first one is two moth people, and then the one I'm working on is a moth person and a spider person.
Interesting. Yeah, that's definitely unique. I haven't really heard of anything like moth people, but that sounds really interesting. Question two: what is your MC like?
So my MC is Cal. He's very snarky and sarcastic, and the story is kind of a little bit parody of Twilight, actually. So he's always just making Twilight jokes and stuff. And his favorite word is the F word, which I don't know if I can say that on here, so I'll just say the F word.
Fun. Sounds like a fun character. Question three: what are your other important characters like?
So this one's a little light on characters. So there are a couple kind of side characters in the beginning. Cal has a sister named Jezebel, who's just always kind of like worrying after her little brother because he moves across the country to go to work. Um, and then he has another friend who's um, kind of like a cryptid, not really hunter, but not to hurt them, but like tries to like find cryptids and photograph them. Um, so so he's got that guy kind of checking in with him, like, did you find anything else cool? Like, because we know Mothman is a thing. So, what else did you find out there? Um, and then and then he has his coworker Jim, who's just kind of a plain guy, kind of off on the side, doesn't know what's going on, so he's just kind of there. Um, and then there's the love interest, the spider person, um, named Spyler, and he's kind of a little bit of a lives under a rock kind of guy. So it's kind of a funny dynamic going on there because Cal's always making these pop culture jokes, and Spyler is like, "What's that?"
Interesting, fun. Question four: if your MC has a love interest, what is their dynamic like?
So I got ahead of myself, but so yeah, Spyler is a very like down to earth type of person. He kind of goes off the grid, and so it's a fun dynamic to play with because uh, Spyler doesn't really like watch TV or do anything like that. So he's like very behind on pop culture. So one of the things that ends up happening kind of organically is Cal is like, okay, we're making a bucket list, and every time you don't know one of my jokes, that piece of media goes on our bucket list.
He's just gonna make him watch all of it.
Yeah.
Fun. Question 5. Who, despite the love interest, is closest to your MC? What is their dynamic like?
So probably Cal's sister, Jez, and she's definitely like the motherly type. Is just constantly worried about Cal, and she can't really look after him because he moved across the country for work. So, yeah, that's their dynamic.
Nice. Uh, question 6. What's your world like? Is it similar to our world? Is it different? How so?
So yeah, this is a modern type of setting. That's the silly series title that I came up with, contemporary cryptids, because so it's a contemporary world. Only cryptids exist. So like Mothman, spider people, other stuff that haven't gone into yet, but basically plays with the concept that well, moth people exist and other cryptids probably do too.
Nice. Question 7. If you write fantasy, what's your magic system?
So this is all like a little bit lightly fantasy. So there's not really any magic per se, but um, they are able to shape shift because they're part cryptid. So they have like a human form, and then they can shift into their cryptid form, um, pretty much at will, and sometimes involuntarily, like if they were like really spooked, or the moth people have like a mating season, so they kind of have to go, you know, act on the mating rituals. So there's a little bit of that involuntary like stuff going on, mostly in like my first book. This one doesn't really deal with that.
So, like, there's magical elements, but not too heavy on the magic.
Right. Yeah, they don't really possess a magic per se, just shape shifting ability to conceal themselves.
Nice. Question 8. Do you like to write major plot twists?
Uh, I kind of think I'm bad at plot twists. But you know, maybe every author thinks that because we know what we want to happen. So, um, I wouldn't say I like to, but if I come up with something, I'm pretty pleased with myself because I think I'm bad at it.
Uh, I'm sure you're not as bad as you think you are.
Probably not.
Question 9. What tropes are in your WIP?
So this one's got kind of an enemies to lovers dynamic because um, it's a moth person and spider person, so they're natural enemies. The spider is natural predator and the moth is natural prey. So and kind of like an opposites attract and ill-fated romance kind of going on there.
Nice. Question 10. What themes are in your WIP?
Um, so a lot of my short stories that I indie publish these days are more um, just lighthearted stuff. So my main theme is just the characters finding happiness and belonging and acceptance.
Nice. Yeah. I always like reading those themes. That's kind of one of the main themes in my book. Question 11. What was your inspiration for your WIP?
So this one, I don't know if you've ever seen these kind of silly things people post on Twitter, where like they'll have sets of images for all of like your star chart. So like Scorpio, and then like your moon and your moon, your sun, and your I forget what else, like your birth month. It's like four pieces of your star chart. So it's like build your own monster romance, and that's actually where I first got this prompt. So what I got was wildlife park, um, spider, and enemies to lovers. And I was like, you know what? I can make this work.
Nice. At least it got you your current book series.
Yep. Oh, my cat's back.
Question 12. Are you a plotter, pantser, or somewhere in between? If your WIP is a part of a series, how much do you have mapped out for it?
So I like to think of myself as somewhere in between, and it also kind of depends on what I'm writing. Um, I believe that every story kind of needs something different. And like with short stories, I usually pants those because there's not really much to plot. And even like up to like this one is more novella length. It's about 19,000 words right now, and it's all pantsed. But I have done outlines and like more like beat sheets is what I like to do for longer projects. Like if I do NaNoWriMo where I'm writing 50,000 words, I like to have at least a beat sheet, just a basic play by play of what scenes I know I want to cover. Um, and then I kind of let the rest happen organically.
Nice. Question 13. Who's your favorite character to write in your WIP? If it's your MC, then who is the second?
Um, So I guess my second favorite, because the first is Cal because he's the point of view character. So the second one would be Spyler. Um, he's been really fun to play with. Please don't show your butt. Just because at first I didn't know like what kind of character I wanted him to be, and then I was like, well, wait, if he's like off the grid, he's not going to know a bunch of stuff. So once I found that, it kind of became a little bit more fun to play with.
Mm, nice. Question 14. What's the dynamic like between your MC and villain? If it's not fantasy, then the main character toward your MC.
Um, so this is really cozy. So there's not really an antagonist per se, but I guess Spyler kind of plays the antagonist part before they get to know each other, though, because since he's a natural predator of moth. At first, he just wants to basically eat Cal. So it's like, so they kind of have to get over that hump of, okay, please don't eat me because you actually like me too. So uh, please don't do that.
Interesting. Question 15. Without being too spoilery, what was your favorite scene to write in your WIP so far?
um, it's so hard for me to pick favorites, really. And this is kind of short, but um, I did really like. I'm kind of getting into like the wholesome part of it, so um, I really like the last scene I just wrote, even though it's really like simple, like all they do is watch a movie. But you know, sometimes that stuff's just the most fun to write because it's just wholesome.
Yeah, definitely. Question 16. If you're writing a series, do you like ending on cliffhangers? Do you plan to end on a cliffhanger in your current WIP?
No, I do not like cliffhangers. And yeah, I usually don't read like if I know something's a trilogy. Usually book two ends on the cliffhanger. So if I read a trilogy, I wait until book two and three are out because I hate cliffhangers so much. So no cliffhangers from me, at least not in the near future.
Uh, question 17. What's a scene you want to write in your WIP that you're excited for that you haven't gotten to yet?
So I don't get to write a lot, and I've been trying all week to get to the juicy scene finally. So I'm like really excited to finally get to it. Hopefully, like later today or tomorrow.
Well, good luck. I hope you get to that scene eventually.
Hopefully, I'd like to
Hopefully.
finish.
Question 18. What's your favorite thing to write about? A certain type of scene, like fight scenes or romantic scenes, and so on.
um, so I guess I've kind of hinted at this already, but my favorite thing to write is cozy and wholesome stuff. I just, you know, there's so much bad in the world. Like I don't want to write about bad stuff. I just want to write feel good stuff most of the time. So I would say that's my favorite.
Nice. Question 19. What do you love most about your WIP and series overall?
Um, so about this work in progress, I would say I like that it's really ridiculous and I'm mostly just having fun, and I'm actually like, oh my god, I'm gonna publish this and there's gonna be a lot of people that don't like it because it's just that weird, and I don't blame them if they skip it, but if they like it, then they'll really like it. So, and then the series overall, I'd say my favorite thing is just that I'm basically writing a bunch of books about Mothman. That's one of my like favorite things.
Nice. Well, the weirder the better, right?
Yeah.
Question 20. What are you most excited for readers to read once it's published?
Um, so I don't know if I'm excited about this one really, just because it's very weird. So I'm probably more excited for like the next thing um, to come along because yeah, this one may be very weird, but I have other plans, so I'm mostly excited just to get more of Mothman stories out in the world.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, your story sounds interesting. So that was the last of the questions. Did you want to read a snippet of one of your published books or your WIP? You don't have to.
Uh, yeah, maybe not. I'm
Okay.
not a very good people person, but I'll show you my last one that I published. This is the first Moth People book.
Nice.
It's called Moth Pit. It's a pun on mosh pit because I'm very silly.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, reading snippets is very you do not have to read one if you're not comfortable with it cuz not everybody is. Um but yeah, so that was all the questions. For anyone that is out in the chats watching this, I put Amara's Amazon author page in the description so you can find her books easily. If you guys wanted to check it out because it sounds interesting, I highly recommend checking them out. And yeah, so thank you all for joining us, and thank you for accompanying me, Amara.
All right, thanks for having me.